See Richard on the call here. Richard, how'd you do up on Wild Horse?
In the storm.
Yeah.
I haven't been up yet to see, but I hear it's pretty miserable. The power's still off. And we had a bunch of trees down, but that's about I've been staying away because I hear it's so miserable and freezing up there. So
That checks out. I know it's freezing cold at my house and our power's still out as well.
lucky we can see you.
Yeah, hopefully it will hold through. The internet has definitely been a little bit hit and miss. The things we take for granted.
Indeed. Technology, it's great.
It's
Yeah, we've
good.
been lucky up here. Hello, everybody. We've been lucky up here in the Berryessa Highlands. Debbie and I have had great power, and just a few flickers was all. But like of in the entire Napa County, where it seems like three-quarters of the county lost power, we got lucky.
Really?
Yeah, we didn't have many power outages. Even the Berryessa Estates, I was very impressed. I didn't want to jinx it and say anything on Sunday, but Angwin didn't lose power, and the Berryessa Estates didn't lose power not until Monday. Finally, a tree came down. But the Berryessa Estates has got to be, of all neighborhoods in the county, they've probably experienced 20 to 30 power outages a year. They're at the end of the line, so they really suffer. So it's good to have power, that's for sure.
But it's equally important to stay prepared.
Yes, always. I've got gas and a generator ready to go.
Sorry, man, I had to take that opportunity and seize the moment.
Some things are hard to give up, Eric, I'm sure.
Oh yeah. It's the crazy thing is I was just talking to my wife a couple of days before and I was telling her about getting a generator. She tells me, I don't think we need it. And so Sunday we lose power. She sent me a text and she says, you were right. So getting a text message from the wife that says you were right, that's a win. That's a win.
Time to play the lottery.
Seriously.
Yeah, even in town, the power has been out. That's wild. In Yountville, I hear, and several communities.
Well, I think Eileen has been off for at least a couple of days.
3 days. 3 days.
Wow.
We got our power back last night, finally. Yeah.
But there was nothing worse than after the LNU fire, we had no power for at least 2 months. So my dad and I were on a generator up here above the Berryessa Highlands in the stretch where all these power lines got taken down. And we were on a generator for 2 months after the LNU. That was wild. So this is just a taste. You guys got it easy.
Hey there, Evan. How are you?
Hey, Dave, doing great. Great to see celebrities like you and Eric and JR in the house.
If only my
That's
signature would meant something and you could, turn it into money, but it doesn't. So I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm not in it for the riches, so it's okay.
that's pretty funny.
No. No, thanks for everything you guys are doing. You're my the people I keep asking questions about too. The last 6 meetings, like, oh, when's the next brick update? When's the next brick update?
I'll answer right
That's
now.
an easy one. We have no idea.
No idea.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Next subject.
We've got some time before then. Yes.
Can we talk about chipping? How's that? No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, sounds good.
Oh, trust me, I have it in my agenda, JR.
What, chipping or the brick? Because you can just delete the brick.
Oh no, brick is an animal that I don't want to. Thankfully, it's not under my wheelhouse.
Copy. Well, Sherry, just so you know, Dave and I have to scoot to another meeting, so we'll be on here for probably 10 or 15 minutes, and then we gotta jump. But just want to say hello.
Sherry, you're muted.
Why with the mute? Yes, thank you. Phone started ringing off the hook. Yes. We also have Eric Hernandez on the call, and he also has to jump for a training. So he had like 3 quick bullet points. Ready, set, go, Eric.
All right. Well, thank you, everybody. Glad everybody's doing safe. So a couple things, I'll make it brief. I know we have an agenda and I don't like to push out the time. Let's see. The first thing that I want to talk about is just a quick reminder. Can you guys see my screen with the Fire Resources Fair?
Yes.
All right. The first thing is just a reminder. Next month, we're going to have a Fire Resources Fair. And when I say this is a coordination between the Grape Growers, the Vintners, Firewise, and County Fire. And so just spread the word. This is a free event. We're doing it on a Saturday this year to attract not just industry partners, but also our local communities, our community members. So I'm gonna email this this flyer to actually, Sherry, you have the flyer. If you don't mind sharing it with the Fire Safe Council leads and start sharing it and just spreading the word, that would be great. And then let me get to the second one. And so second. Let me get to my second.
Dude, your screen makes me crazy how many icons you have on your desktop.
Here you go. Can you guys see the Vegetation Management Aid?
Yes.
Okay, so the other thing is this is a program that's ran by our fabulous JR. So correct me if I'm wrong, JR. We're still hiring vegetation management aides. So this is our chippers. And so same thing, I'll send this to you, Sherry, so you can share with the Fire Safe Council leads. This is basically our chipping program. And we're currently hiring right now to staff our chippers so that we can get the ball rolling when the time is needed. And so we have a flyer for that talks about the position. And the last but not least, the last thing that I want to talk about is, with this storm, I know a lot of people have been reaching out to me about when is the chipping program going to start. As of right now, we're in the early stages, and so right now we're working on staffing and acquiring our filling our positions for the chipping program. But what we are telling people is a good way of using this time is either burning or, more importantly, getting ready for the chipper program that will be operating in the near future. So we don't have a date yet, and as soon as JR gives me the green light, then we'll go ahead and start advertising for that. But right now, this chipping program flyer that I have up, it's a good reminder that right now is the best time to start creating those piles so that when we open that up, I'm suspecting that with this recent storm that we received, we're going to have an increase of requests. So out the gun. So just a quick reminder, share the word, spread the message. We are going to be doing the chipper program this year. Start getting ready, start creating piles so that when we're ready to go, then you're ready to go as well. And that's basically it for me. Yeah, thank you.
Well, I'll jump on and say we're deep into the hiring of that aid position. I'm really hoping to have a lot of that wrapped up by the end of next week. So if you know of anybody, please tell them to apply right away so we can get them into our queue and get them looked at. So I would tentatively love to say the end of March, but truthfully, the weather's going to tell it all for us. But yeah, as Eric said, get the piles ready, and as soon as we're ready, we're going to get out there and get going.
All right, everybody, that's it for me. I'm going to log out, and thank you, everybody, for the great work.
Thanks,
Thank
Eric.
you.
Appreciate it. All right. So we're gonna pop over to David Shu. You want to take it away?
Yeah. I'm putting my contact information in the chat with my phone number and email. address. Here you go. So good afternoon, everybody. Really great to be here. I've waited to meet with all of you for a while now, so I'm glad I'm finally able to meet with you, and I hope to get around the county and meet with all of you individually in person with your different fire safe council groups in the next few months. So JR and I, as probably all of you know, we started the fire administration job back October 30th was actually our first day at work, which led us right into the holidays. And so it was really busy and lots of time off and things like that. So we've been on the job for about 3 months now. And so unfortunately, we haven't solved everything yet, but we're working on it. So a lot of people have been asking us, what is the fire administration position? And so the county of Napa really needed a position to sort of help coordinate and oversee all the really great work that's being done across the county, as well as just a lot of pragmatic stuff about the contracts that Napa County has with fire protection services, with CAL FIRE and the various local jurisdictions that we have, both in this county and neighboring counties, and the budget process for, running the county fire department and all of these kind of things. As JR is getting deeply involved in all the prevention chipping projects. We're working, of course, very, very closely with NCFF and, wanting to go out there and meet with all the volunteer fire department organizations, as well as all the, fire safe council groups and all that kind of thing. So we've got a big full agenda and really looking forward to kind of gathering all the information that everybody's doing and really looking forward long-term to create a really highly fire resilient future for Napa County, which that is a big lofty goal. And there's about 1,000 strings underneath that all tie together. So I want to get out there and meet with all of you folks, really looking at a future where fires will continue to burn. We all know that. But what we want to see is that the fires continue to burn with much, much less impact on our built environment and our natural environment when they do burn. And so the work that's being done is going to help us achieve that goal. And we really want to kind of build a narrative in this county to really help people look forward and look at ways that they can create a safer environment for their home, their neighborhood, their communities. And that's what we want. We want fires to go ahead and burn through the county as they're going to anyway. There's nothing we can do to stop that. But we want them to we want homes and businesses and communities to go back to once these fires burn through. So, in a nutshell, that's sort of the big picture. Pretty easy, right? JR, you got anything else you want to add?
No, I'm ahead of you. I already met these fine people. So, we're all best friends. We text on the side, we go to coffee. No, I'm good. But it's good to see you all again.
Yeah, actually, I recognize a bunch of names on the list here. So I look forward to reconnecting with everybody. And it'll be a lot of fun. And if any of you have any immediate questions or anything you'd like to ask, then let us answer your questions.
And no, Evan, we still don't know when the BRIC program is coming. 5 minutes later.
Thank you, JR. If anything, I'd love to say, for the clarity of those that are newish to these replays, sometimes like this YouTube video gets this video gets uploaded to YouTube for other fire safe councils. For those of us that are less aware of the situation, Dave, I had coffee and donuts with you the other day, let's just say, and you gave me a good update. But for those of us that didn't get the update, so it will be 6 to 12 months before, if not 18 months, before the rollout of the BRIC grant. So in the meantime, a good thing for fire safe councils to do would be what? It would be a question I want to kind of pose out there as a leading question.
Well, I'm going, a lot of what we need to do is, of course, the education framework and things like that. But Um, I think it's safe to say that we can expect an extremely healthy grass crop growing this summer, which, as we all know from living here, it always dies and turns brown by the end of the summer. And so we want to be prepared for that. We want to make sure that we are minimizing that impact around our, around our properties and our structures and things like that. And I'm going to get, want to get a lot more. I know Eric Hernandez has really been a rock star at this, going around and talking about it. But I'm really going to start really focusing on the fact that because we know that the vast majority of structures that burn in wildfires today are about 90% of them, those ignition sources that burn those structures down are coming from embers. That's just a simple fact that is revealing itself from all the data that we're collecting from all of these fires. And if we know that 90% of this problem of structure ignitions is the embers, I'm going to suggest that we really start focusing on that single issue and really start working at how do we block out the ability for those embers to even ignite our structures. That's something I really want to focus on. That is a big, big push going on internationally across the globe. Some of you, it's really sad. Some of you may have heard about the wildfires that are occurring down in Chile right now. It's the height of their fire season at the moment. And just about 2 or 3 days ago, they had one of the worst firestorms that's ever hit that country. And I think the latest I've heard is around 140 fatalities with still hundreds missing, and they're still searching through the rubble. So we have just now, within the last couple of days, seen yet another catastrophic wildfire event that, quite frankly, is badly eclipsing even Lahaina that we saw in Hawaii this past summer. So these things are continuing to happen. I don't want to see Napa as the next statistic on the list. So what we need to do is start focusing on how do we reduce the ability for the fires to even ignite our structures to begin with. I got a lot I can say about that. I don't have time to do it all tonight, but I want to really encouraging you. So, Evan, I hope that, that's what I'd like the people to focus on. And certainly the combination of structure hardening and defensible space is key to all of that. So my recommendation and hope is that we all keep plodding along at that and really working at it. And when the next one occurs, the fire just doesn't find an opportunity to ignite nearly as many structures as we've seen in the past. And that's what I hope to bring to the table.
Thanks, Dave. And then for the fire safe councils, is it appropriate to start talking to homeowners about a future BRIC grant that's going to help them with home hardening and things that they won't be able to afford right now? Like in the present moment, we of course want to encourage people to do everything they can. And then from the BRIC grant perspective, sorry, JR, but I since you guys are here, do we want to sort of subtly tell people about this so they're prepared to accept some help?
Yeah, I don't even think we need to be subtle about it. I think that getting the word out that and the status of this is the fact that we don't have the actual notification from FEMA yet that we've even received it. So what has happened is that the application went in, it went through several reviews, and it, ultimately in the FEMA world, there is a final review, and our application has been elevated into that final review process, which means that, frankly, in the FEMA world, any application that's ever reached that final level has never been not awarded. So it's a pretty good bet that we're going to get the money. We just don't know the time frame. So we're in the process right now of just waiting to get the final word that the final review has been completed, and we've received the official notification of awarding the grant to Napa County. So that's what we're waiting for right now. We just don't have any clue as to when that will happen yet.
Yeah, and that makes sense. Sorry.
Yeah, no, the first year is designed as a sort of a task building and planning phase. So it's going to be building capacity and getting people hired to go ahead and start getting the project work done. The application includes maps and has a lot of project work already identified in it. So I think absolutely people who live, especially in those areas that the grant is identified in, on the maps in the application, I think it's excellent for them to be aware and say, you know, how can we be ready? Because it is a lot of money that has to be spent in a fairly short period of time. So the more preparation and the more ready we are for it when it does come, the more successful we'll be, and the more product, you know, the more prevention actions we'll be able to achieve. And I think that's a good thing.
Sounds good. And is it income? Are there income qualifications for the BRIC grant? Is my final question. Thank you. Sorry to
I
cut you
don't
off.
know yet. I think we have to sort all of that out still. We don't,
Okay.
you know, part of that planning phase is going to be identifying exactly all those details. And there were some, I mean, obviously we had to present some of what our vision looked like in the application, but that'll all be fine-tuned when the, you know, when the agreement comes through.
Yeah, and there is specific call outs as he says, but it's in a very vague in the sense that we will be implementing that, what it looks like and what the specifics are. No idea at this point.
Yeah.
So
Thank you.
we are leaning very heavily on our neighbors over in Sonoma who are, you know, a year and a half ahead of us in this process and kind of put their head through the door. Literally a metal door. And what can we learn from them? So it's been a really good partnership in that so far.
Thank you.
I think somebody else had a comment or question.
Well, I was a little concerned about us getting ahead of this because we don't want to lose credibility with our, constituents, kind of, So we promise them something and then it goes in a different direction that is probably not going to be good for our popularity around here.
No, I understand what you're saying. It would be the first time ever that FEMA sent a letter out to an applicant who's going through this final review and said, no, sorry, we're not going to award you the grant. That's just never happened before. So we feel really confident that the award will arrive at some point in time. But again, we just don't know the time frames. But that doesn't mean that people can't start, you know, even if we weren't getting the BRIC grant, I would say everybody needs to be out working on this issue. So I think there's plenty of work for us all to do before the BRIC grant gets here. And it's just an ongoing process that we all need to keep focusing on.
Is there a way for us to find out what we are supposed to be doing?
Not really. I mean, outside of, if you're talking in terms of the BRIC grant, no. If you are talking about what you should be doing as a fire safe council and as a community member, and hopefully you're all going through getting your FireWise recognition completed and getting that formalized and all those kind of things, I encourage everybody to work on overdrive with that stuff. I mean, those are all important things.
We're all done with that.
Yeah. So keep working at it, because as you know, the rains and all the vegetation will grow back if we don't keep at it, and those kind of things. And there's always steps that can be taken to keep homes more hardened. So I want to get into that a little more, but JR and I are going to have to run because we've got a 6 o'clock meeting up Valley. And I wish we could spend more time with you here, but we'll be back.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Dave and JR. Really appreciate you guys joining us, and please you're welcome at all these meetings, and looking forward to keeping all the lines of communications open and getting you out there to meet everybody in person, and we can really dig into things on the community level as well. So thank you. Have fun at your training.
Thank you very much. Bye now.
And all right, let's see. One moment, I'll just open up this screen for y'all. Okay. There we go. Mhm. Alrighty. So cruising through the agenda here. I think it was really helpful to hear about the FEMA grant, such as it is. And Evan Kilkus perhaps would be a good person to run over this Recover California, which might be a good way to help some of our Fire Safe Council community who need some assistance do their defensible space work while they're waiting patiently. Evan, do you want to, let's see, hold on a second. Let's just see if we can advance this. Oh, heard from these guys, and I'll have all this contact information for you also. I'll send out a sheet with everybody's contact information. But this is Recover California, which I don't know if some of you may be aware of this already. This is a program through, it's a state-run program, and there is funding available for defensible space and home hardening for residents that meet the income threshold and who own their homes. It has to be a home that you dwell in. It can't be a rental or a part-time home. But the cap is up to $50,000. And let's see, this kind of overviews some of the basics. And then Evan Kilkus kindly set up a meeting Friday, March 15th with a presentation by the Recover California folks out at the Capel Valley Volunteer Fire Station. It'll be at 5:30 p.m. and it would be wonderful if we could share that out widely. And the group will also be attending the Fire Resources Fair on March 16th. So that they'll have a table, and they may also give a small presentation at the fair. Any questions about that program? Has anyone heard of this program or know of anyone who's made good use of this?
Shari, is this cost sharing or is this just straight up money?
This is just straight up money.
Well, so,
Okay.
and Sherry, if I could add, so I came upon this 2 weeks ago at a meeting for the insurance advocacy group. And quite frankly, it's a remarkable program. It's very similar to the BRIC program, but it's available now. And I think it's a great start for Napa County. It's got a few limitations, as you see in order to qualify section, you have to have owned your home and lived in it during 2020, during when the fires took place, and you have to still own it. It can't be a second home or a rental. And then you have to meet, if you meet the income threshold, for example, 74,700 for one person household, then then you're a priority qualified. And if you're above that, then you're lesser qualified. So for, let's just say, half of Napa County or 3/4, if you're above that, then you won't qualify for this grant. But as a Fire Safe Council consortium here, I would recommend that us Fire Safe Councils try to find the homeowners in our neighborhoods that would most benefit from this grant. And this grant will pay for, it will allocate a project manager to your home that will talk to you and put together a list of a to-do list based on 3 different tiers of priorities. Then they will do the work and pay for it and write the checks for it. And then they will be done. And the homeowner doesn't pay anything out of pocket if all circumstances are met. And to clarify too, their first priorities are what you would all assume would be the priorities. Tier 1 priorities are defensible space, improving the deck resilience to fire. They have a few interesting things, like they want to possibly pay for fire resistant paint and possibly pay for adding mesh to the undersides of decks to prevent embers from going under the decks. Then when you hit the tier 2 level of importance, then all of a sudden they want to pay for fiber cement exterior siding plus trim and paint, or enclosed soffits, or a new roof. So for all of you guys that are living in these various communities in Napa County, find your neighbors that need to sign up for this program and go get them signed up for it. Because we all know the ones that are sort of that are not upper income, that are of average income or lower income, and that have houses with woodpecker holes in them and need new siding. This is an amazing opportunity, just like the brick grant. The brick grant happens to still be a year away. This happens to be ready right now. They're trying to sign people up. And if California doesn't spend the money just won't get spent. So I came upon this program a few weeks ago, and today is the first day. Right now is the first time we're sharing this publicly, because as of this morning, I got approval from the Recover California team that all of this information is accurate, and they will be here next month, March 15th and 16th, to share this information and answer any questions with residents. So I think that's enough of a summary. I could say more, but I think you get the point. I'll ask Sherry to send out a flyer and a Lake Berryessa News article that will explain a little bit more about what this program is. And you're looking at the flyer right now on the screen. And I think Joe Nordlinger would agree that we want to share this with our fellow community members in need that could benefit from this money.
Absolutely, get the word out. We're
Yeah,
gonna
Evan?
promote it along with, just as we are with the North Bay Forest Improvement Plan stuff and the NRCS EQIP stuff. I mean, any of these programs that we can educate people about are valuable.
Yes, and thank you for that, the note too. So and Megan, I will send out this flyer and the information, but also the flyers from Alex's presentation before for the NBFIP and the programs through the RCD and NRCS, so that we'll be well armed for our landowners that need help and homeowners.
Yeah, and if you
Sorry?
have folks in your fire
you
safe
know-
councils that are going for these programs, please keep us, like, we want to keep tabs on these things, right? And understand what are the pitfalls, what are the challenges, what what are the issues that they're running into. So definitely keep us on the loop. Sorry, Eileen, go ahead.
No, a question, because Evan's explanation was a really good supplement to this flyer. To take away a lot of concerns that people or questions that people may have. So if there's if he can put a short summary of what he's just said.
Yeah, that's in the article. I think Evan put together for the Lake Berryessa News. So I'll
perfect.
as well with your
Perfect.
blessings, Evan.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's where I put this flyer is for the presentation, quote unquote, and then there's an article that goes with this that kind of puts it in the terms that I just put it in. And then also I just added a link. I see Jonathan added a link for the website for the Recover California program where you can get the details. And then I also added a video a link to a YouTube video where you'll see the 15-minute presentation that I saw 2 weeks ago that made my head explode. I was like, holy cow, they want to give $50,000 for new siding. I know some neighbors.
Yeah, and I think Evan, you summarized that video pretty well. You know, the audio was a little bit hard to understand for a little bit of it.
But the first couple minutes, then it got better.
Yeah, it got better. But yeah, you gave it a good nutshell, and I'm glad it was approved by the
Yeah,
Recover
they
California
want to
folks.
spend the money. They want to see the money spent, and I want to see it spent in Napa County. They've got a lot of money, and I'll point out too. In addition to this $50,000 per homeowner for a home hardening defensible space upgrade, they also have a $500,000 if you lost your home program. And if you go to that same website, you can learn about it. They have told me though to not promote it, quote unquote, anymore because they think that since October they've already gotten enough requests amongst the 9 counties in California. But I told them, unless they tell me not to promote it, I'm still going to tell a few neighbors. So I do want to point out that in addition to this separate from this $50,000 upgrade program, if you know somebody that lost their home during the glass fire or the LNU fire, and they qualify by income and residency and still ownership, please do pass this information along and feel free to contact me if you have any questions. It's hard there are not many people though that lost their homes and are low income and still own the property because a lot of people have sold their properties. So I found it's easier said than done. Of the 95 homes in my community, I've really only found 2 or 3 people that I think will qualify for this $500,000 free home type of grant. But it's worth bringing up here at this table here, just so you're all aware.
Yeah, thanks so much, Evan. Thanks for doing all that great legwork. And I will look forward to seeing many of you at that March 15th meeting. It'll be a great opportunity to ask more questions and or at the booth at the Fire Resources Fair. Okay. And so Joe, let me just, we have probably some Napa Firewise updates as well. And I wanted to share with you that we have a burn pile guide that was put together actually by Sonoma County, tips for building and burning a pile and how to navigate all the proper channels to do who to call and which permits you might need. So it is really step by step with tons of links embedded in it, and I will share that around with all of you. Jonathan adapted it for Napa County, so changing the links to be Napa County specific and match our regulations, and that will be a really wonderful resource. And I did get permission from Pepperwood to some of the folks that put the original guide together to go ahead and adapt it. So I'll be sharing that around. It is a tough road to navigate sometimes for folks, and I think it's going to be a good tool. But when you do get it, I would love your feedback. So if you see anything that's still confusing or needs more clarification or that isn't right for Napa County, please do let me know. And then well, I'll go ahead and let Joe. Joe, do you have any updates, or do you want to? I was going to save our updates to the end. I've got one more person that I would love to hear from as well. But if you can stay on for just a little bit longer.
No other real updates. I mean, people may have seen that the Napa County 23-24 money was approved back on January 9th, and that so we can provide the list of projects that includes. We're working right now with Napa County, Dave and JR and others to sort of frame up what we think the Napa County 24-25 funding will look like for Firewise. It's likely to be, a host of roads that require shaded fuel break work implementation, a bunch of maintenance around the county. We've moved steadily down our list of roads and perimeter fuel breaks, with many of them completed now 2 or 3 years ago. So we're sort of looping back and doing maintenance on those. So we'll probably have a pretty good idea of what that 24-25 money will look like and what that schedule will look like. As far as what those projects will be, that would of course get approved in like May of this year. And that would be probably the only update.
Thanks, Joe.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that is always a good thing to get checked. That box get checked off for the budget for the year. And then let's see, I do want to share again. Computer. So we have with us tonight a friend of mine who is providing some self-care to people working in the fire world. And I just want to give a quick call out that, again, that I really appreciate every single person on this call and all of our Fire Safe Council leaders and the people in the community who are doing this work to make our community safer. But I know it also does mean we're doing it because we think about fire a lot. We care. We know it's important, but it does take a little bit of a toll, I think, on us emotionally to think about fire constantly. I think the fact that we're doing something about it is helpful because we're taking the bull by the horns and doing something proactive to make our community safer. I know I'm sure you all share with me that feeling of it feels good to know that you're making a difference in that regard, but it still does take a toll, and thinking about fire quite a bit. So making sure that we're all, taking care of our mental health and exploring kind of how fire affects us. And with that, I would like to introduce Leticia Russell.
Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you so much for this time to talk with you. As Sherry said, I am passionate about making space for conversations, especially conversations that enhance well-being and adaptability. And I wish that I'd had a chance to talk with Dave before he left. I loved that he started talking about his passion for building a narrative where people can be wildfire adaptive. And that's a passion that I share. And one of the things that I found is that sometimes when conversations are difficult to have, we don't have a lot of spaces. Like all of you are very dedicated to this, and so you talk about it a lot, but how do we expand the reach of that conversation? And one of the ways that I hope to be able to help in that effort is by creating spaces in which people can talk about it first after making art together. And I've created this workshop which is collage making to promote resilience, support well-being, and to facilitate social connection. And it is specifically asking in our community, how has the fire impacted you individually, or how has the how do you see that the fire has impacted your community? And having done this workshop already, I know that the insights and the conversations that happen create connections with people in the room that then I think can hopefully ripple out to allow us to make space for conversations that can help us not only in preparing our homes, but also thinking about, like Sherry was saying, some of the mental health impacts that have happened. Not too long ago, I saw a graphic about how we can prepare as communities, thinking about hardening and having strong relationships with our first responders. And one of the things that struck me is in that graphic and some of the articles that we see in our local publications, there was no mention of mental health at all. And mental health is something that is impacted by these traumatic experiences. And so in addition to finding ways to be able to support an expansion of the conversation through experiences that we share together, it's also wanting to make space for us to think about the impact that natural disasters are having on our ability to be resilient. I'm doing my next workshop coming up on February 9th at Nimbus Arts. Thank you, Sherry, for sharing this graphic. I've also put it in the chat. I've put my email there too. If you are interested in attending on Friday, you're welcome to attend. I'd also like to extend that if you would like for me to come to your Firewise meetings and offer this as a way of fostering conversation that can help with other work that you're doing, that I would welcome that invitation to partner with you in that way as well. Thank you, Sherry.
Leticia, can you tell us any more about the workshop? Or you're doing some art as part of that?
Yeah, so it's collage. So it's the opportunity to work with images from magazines and newspapers and to create an image from what you find there and do some writing, reflective writing based on what you've created, and then have a conversation with others who are there in the workshop together. So one way of thinking about it is coming in as an individual, responding to what you see, and then connecting with others and having a dialogue with them, inspired by the artwork that you make individually and what you see others making around you.
Great, thank you.
I'm happy to answer any other questions if any of you have questions for me as well.
a quick comment. Thank you very much for doing that. I think this is an area that we don't think about often enough. And it's part of resilience, isn't it, to understand our role in everything that has happened to us and is going to happen again. So thank you. This is exciting. I can't make it Friday, but we'll be in touch.
Thank you for that. I have felt for some time I was creating art with wax crayons with no color and just creating landscapes, our landscape that we have here in this area, which is so beautiful, but in an invisible way. And I wondered, why am I creating art that then I had to use another color or a wash in order to make it come out? And I realized just recently it's because when I'm in the bookstore or when I'm in the grocery store or when I'm in a coffee shop, I hear people around me having conversations about how the wildfires have impacted us. And yet we don't always have these communal spaces in which we can have this conversation and how it's impacted us. If you're interested in the workshop but can't attend this Friday, please send me an email. I'll put you on the list for the other workshops that I'll be doing this month. And I'm going to be doing this work for years. And so that's one of the reasons why I really appreciate Sherry allowing me to come and have this conversation with you all, because I hope to partner with you and our community for a long time.
Letitia, this is Gretchen. And
Hi, Gretchen.
Is there a fee for the participants?
No, this is a free workshop for the community. I work as a community-based art therapist, which means that I bring my services to the community, trying to remove barriers of access. And I should also say to all of you that in the month of February, the workshops that are doing are part of my doctoral dissertation research. So participants will be asked if they would like to participate in that project as well. Participating in the workshop is not at all impacted whether or not they want to be a part of the research. Everybody can come and participate in the workshop, and then you can choose if you want to be a part of the research project, and it is free.
Thank you so much, Leticia.
Thanks. And I've got a follow-up question then. Thanks, Letitia, for being here. And if Fire Safe Council is going to be hosting a community wildfire preparedness day type event, like our Berryessa Highlands neighborhood, we lost 95 out of 350 homes. So there's a lot of, there's without a doubt, 4 years later, still a lot of anxiety. If we're hosting a community wildfire preparedness day, if you're available, can we invite you up to participate? And is there a cost in that to invite you, to have you show up to talk to people?
I will definitely show up. Let's have a conversation about cost. As I mentioned, access is really important to me, and that's not why I'm doing this work. And so my gut is saying I'm just going to show up and come, but I'd love to have a conversation about how we can do this in a way that's sustainable, that sets it up so that I can continue to say yes to you and other communities. This is the work I want to do. So thank you, Evan.
Absolutely. No, and that, of course, there's got to be some fair compensation. We appreciate your skills and time. So thanks for the info. And Sherry, thanks for bringing Letitia here.
My pleasure. Thank you, Leticia. Thanks for joining us. Thank you all. Let's see. I think that's just about it. Whoops, it's always a fun slide. There we are. So I have a few more things to add to this, but I will be sending around again the links for contacts. I'll put Leticia on there too, and everything else. I missed missed a couple things, so I'll throw those on those and send that out. Yes.
This is Gretchen. I just have to say I'm so thrilled about art therapy, but in general, I think it would be worth Sherry and Joe exploring whether any of your FSC donations that are sitting in your account to use for outreach would apply for this. So I'm going to leave that in Sherry and Joe's camp, but it seems like a worthy cause.
Thank you. And that reminds me, I do have budgets to send, or not budgets, your balances to send around also this week. So
I have a question. Where is
yes.
Gretchen? No, the other Gretchen, the NCFF Gretchen, who looks
Yes.
like.
Gretchen's in, she looks like she's somewhere cold. walking
Yes,
this-
she certainly
Livermore.
does.
Not the Alps, but it is chilly, but I'm getting some movement. Well, we've got a little light after 5 for a change. Good to see you all. Thank you.
And the other Gretchen is still sitting in the dark, which is horrible. So it
Oh,
went
no
back,
power?
the power went back off.
Yeah, we have a circuit breaker problem, probably from the original surge, so it's PG&E's hooked us up again, but our house is in a brownout, so we're not actually back on power yet.
Ugh.
With an electrician scheduled to come soon. Welcome to life on the mountain, Diamond Mountain,
Yeah.
day 5.
Yes, country living.
Country living.
It's always an adventure.
But somehow I liking this better than wildfire, so I'm okay.
Yeah. Agreed. I'm with you.
I like the
Um,
water part, you know?
Yes. Well, that's all I have for you all today. And I'm happy to stay on a little bit longer if anyone wants to chat or catch up or ask more questions. And otherwise, you can have a little bit more of your evening back.
Hey, can we welcome Lon on this meeting? Maybe you've been to a few, but Lon at the Capel Valley Fire Safe Council is a new Fire Safe Council as of last month, formally at least, right?
Welcome.
Yep. Yes. Welcome, Capel Valley Fire Safe Council.
Hi,
Gotta-
Lon.
Yeah, thank you, everybody. I just want to say thank you to Evan and Joe and Cherry and Jonathan and Roger for helping us do our kickoff late January for the Capel Fire Safe Council. Look forward to reaching out to all of you guys and having you help and guide me as a new lead for our Fire Safe Council.
Excellent.
Stepping it up.
Okay.
Great. Well, thank you all. Thanks for your time and all you do.
Good night, everybody. See you
Good
next
night.
month.
Good night, everyone.
Take care. Good
Good
night.
night.
Good night. Thanks, Sherry.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Shari.